Hello YouTube comic community, this is Silver Age Dave. I'm gonna answer a question. I had another community member ask me a question and asked basically, about my comic buying and if I was rich, and I thought it was a funny question. I don't think he meant to be nosy, and I didn't take it that way. But what I do is everything I can by myself to conserve resources. I was a competitive swimmer. And what you learn when you swim is that every little bit of drag is drag. Everything slows you down, from your haircut to the suit you use. I mean, everything can slow you down. Every little bit of your form is important. So I save money everywhere I can. Today, what I'm doing is I'm saving a couple $100. Our central air conditioning hasn't been working up to mustard, so it's a pretty easy system. Basically what you have is you have this large unit outside. It sucks air in, it moves it against coils, and then it causes your, it basically sends that cool water into your house, and it converts. And but anyway, one of the big breakdowns that happens with these things this time of year is they just get dirty. Springs in the air, and all this stuff is floating around. You see all the junk. If you look through here, how dirty that is. Well, all those coils in there have to be perfectly clean. And what you never want to do is you never want to touch those with your fingers. So everything starts safely. We're going to come back here. There's always going to be a fuse box next to a central air conditioning condenser. We're going to open that one up, and we're going to pull the fuse. Okay, right there. We just pull straight out. Boom. And as you can hear, okay, there's the fuse. We're actually going to put that over here because we're going to use water. We don't want it to get wet. Usually what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these screws at the top of the unit, and I'm going to lift this housing. That's what the fan is connected to. Now you can't remove it all the way, because as you may be able to see inside of there, there's wiring that connects it down to a motor down below. So we're going to move those, and sometimes what I'll do is I'll pull these panels off. But from what I'm seeing, this, boy, it does look pretty dirty. And if that's dirty, it can't suck the air through, and you're not going to get cold air. So a lot of times you call the heating and air guy or girl, and they're going to come out and they're going to say, oh, that's $200 for a cleaning. Wait till you see how easy this is. I'm going to pull these screws off. What I'm using is a drill, and then some of these little adjustable screwdrivers you can buy at Home Depot. What I found is that head works just right. See how that's turning? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off right there, and I'm going to put it actually into my drill. I'm going to try to prop that up. Sorry guys, there's not much view right there. I'm going to prop that up, and I'm going to put that right in my drill like that, and I'm basically going to use that to remove all those screws. Okay, so I'm going to edit this video, but I'll show you how fast that works. You put it like this, right on there. Boom, screw's going to be removed. Okay, we'll be back in a moment. All right, YouTube, so it was that easy. I removed the screws. Now, I highly recommend, this is a little magnetic holder. I own maybe 3 or 4 of these. Man, they come in handy. Put the screws in there. These screws aren't life or death. If you lose one, they're easy to replace, but it's just good to have them. So the other thing I did is I've got this climbing hydrangea here next to our chimney, and it was growing all over the top of this. You want clean airflow really all the way around. So I did take my clippers and I trimmed up a little. This thing is getting ready. It's going to flower beautifully. So I don't want to trim it back right now, but this fall I'll trim this thing back in maybe a foot. I'll take a foot or 2 off some of these vines that are hanging. That also helps all that airflow. So anyway, so all I did, I popped up on this cover. Okay, you see how it lifts, and now you can get a good view of how dirty this is. Again, you never want to touch these coils here. I can't point to them because I'm using both hands, but you never want to touch these with your hands, because you bend them even a little bit and they will not work. So you can see in there, hopefully, let me focus in, you can see in there how much stuff, look how much stuff, and that's just oops, sorry about my finger, that's just all the pollen and all the dirt and dust and stuff. It builds up. So this was clean in the spring, but just a little bit of time and it gets covered up. So if your central air isn't working right, this could be the reason for it. So what I'm going to do, I've got that top off. Sometimes I'll take these cages off and I'll really clean it. I don't want to mess with that today. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my garden hose, I'm going to lift this up out of the way, and I'm going to hose that stuff right down to the ground. We'll be back with you in just a second. Okay, YouTube, another little add-on tip of the day. I believe in MacGyvering everything I can. So this is a cocktail holder. We have these around the pool, and I was trying to figure out how am I going to videotape. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking this potted plant, I'm going to put a little beer bottle holder right in there. And these clamps, I've got about 5 different sizes of clamps. These little small plastic things, they're like $1 or so at Home Depot or Lowe's or Menards. If you have Menards, I like that store too. But I'm going to use these. I use them in my comic room when I make videos. Sometimes I clip my phone or my iPad to a little stand, but they come in handy. So I'm going to rig this up and we'll show you the hose off process. Alright, YouTube, so I think this is going to work out real well for us. Those clips are holding great. If I had another little phone here, I'd take a picture of what I did, but you can cover everything except the little camera icon right there. Everything else is clipped nice and tight. So I got my my garden hose here, and I got it on a little hard spray, just like that, and it's going to be this simple. We're just going to lift this up, okay, and I'm going to spray. I'm going to hose it. And that stuff is just pouring off there. It takes no work, just falls right off. I'll try to do one side so you can see how easy it comes off. And the difference in the house tonight is going to be night and day. You will not know what hit you. You do not have to spend thousands of dollars on a new central air conditioner. You can take your garden hose, some of that free water or practically free water, and you can do any of this stuff. And you know what? If you do this, and then a week later, it's not working, then you spend a couple $100 to have the technician out. But a lot of this stuff, people are just afraid initially. When we have new neighbors that move in that are first-time home buyers, this is my housewarming gift to them. I do their central air unit once. I show them how to do it. And then basically I've given them thousands and thousands of dollars. And you know what that means? It's more money for comic books. All right, YouTube, so I normally wouldn't recommend this part of it, but I want to show you guys really how effective this is. So what I did is I took a painter's roller pole, extension pole, and I just propped up the front of the lid here so I can go one hand with camera, one hand with hose. And what I'm going to do, the preferred way to do this is from the inside, okay, like so. But I want you guys to see how effective this is. Well, I don't know if I can do it, but basically you see how that stuff just blasts away, okay? But when we spray from the inside, you see that stuff is coming right out of there. And what we're wanting it to do is we're wanting it to go right down and clean right up. See, now this stuff got wet. I was saving this front part for last, so it's not coming off like the first parts did, but that's okay. We'll be patient because I got plenty of water. This is just hooked up to the garden hose. I got unlimited water today. God bless America, right? Anytime someone wants to complain, then we think about all our water we have, and maybe you don't complain so much. I'll take this opportunity to thank again those who have served our great country and helped us to have these freedoms that we have. So we're just hosing that off. I'll show this in a minute when I get the rest. See how that stuff's coming off of there? I would have liked to got behind there, but I'd need a third hand, and I just don't have one. It's cleaning right up. Okay, we're just being real patient here, and it'll clean right up. Beautiful. And then we're going to hose that out. Now what I do, sometimes I'll take my shop vac. See how there's leaves and there's junk that have worked their way in there? I'll just shop vac that out and get rid of that stuff that's in there. Or you can, you know, if you have the container off, you can reach down there. Sometimes this one's kind of deep, so I can't reach down, but that stuff won't hurt anything. But there are drains, so the water will drain out of there. Sometimes they get plugged though. So you know, if you have the chance, clean that stuff out. I usually do twice a year where I'll take the thing apart a little more and do a deep cleaning. Today, I'm just doing a quick clean because I want my house to be nice and cool tonight so I can sleep upstairs with Mrs. Silver Age Dave. The last couple nights I had to sleep downstairs because I like it nice and cool, and it just wasn't getting the upstairs cool like it should be. All right. Okay, a couple last things. So now I've got the housing fairly well put together. Sometimes they get this cap back on because everything has flex to it. You have to just put a couple screws in a couple of spots, and then you have to work your way around. The last spot is always the trickiest. It doesn't matter where you start. Whatever the last one is the trickiest because they are made to be tight. So this little part is the last piece I have. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to manipulate it and knock it in there, and that'll fall together. And the other thing is you want to remove these screws from the front. You don't want to remove these screws. These drop part of the fan housing, and certainly not those. You just want to lift the cap. You don't want to take apart the inner assembly. All right, YouTube, so it's as simple as that. I had to give it a little hit with my palm of my hand, but that popped right back in. Now we've got the fuse, and we're gonna put that back in here. Sorry about the close-up view, but that's the best I can do. As soon as we put that in, it should kick on. Now, I don't know if you can notice, if you go back to the beginning of the video, there is a wildly noticeable difference in the sound. It's a lot quieter now. You see all the junk. If you look through here, how dirty that is. Well, all those coils in there have to be perfectly clean. And what you never want to do is you never want to touch those with your fingers. And by keeping these condensers clean, it is going to run better. The house is going to be much, much cooler, much more efficient, less energy use, and this unit, which we know these are $4,000 to $6,000, it is going to last a lot longer. Save $200 a year or more in service calls. Basically, yesterday's surprise haul comic book video I put out, those comics were free. What I would have paid a technician to come out and do what I just did, literally, it took me a couple minutes more than what you guys are seeing. That's over a couple $100 savings. Those comics are all free. I love that. Guys, this is Silver Age Dave. My plants right here, the hostas, got all that extra water, so these guys are going to grow. Everything's going to benefit from this, and I'm wishing you the best. If you have any questions, give me an email, because my private message doesn't work, silveragedave@gmail.com, and I'm happy to answer questions. Home improvement, it's all simple if you take your time. Silver Age Dave is out.